Welcome back. As Nigerians gear up to the 2023 elections, so many questions are still being asked. At a point like this where you've got several people who have always wanted to run for presidency, they can't find their certificates. These are things that you expect them to have had for the longest time. We have people who have made placeholders for vice presidential candidates, and most of them, or some of them, can't find their certificates. If we can't find little bits of information about our candidates, how can we entrust them with service to the nation? You also have crisis within the PDP, as we've seen two governors come to speak openly against the preferred candidate of the party. How does this affect the future of the party and elections? There are also still rumors of a possible coalition between two other potential presidential aspirants. These and more is what we will be discussing on the political segment of the Weekend Show today. And joining us we have
Lami Akpejoye, who is a public relations consultant. Good morning, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back, Lami. So we started this conversation about 3 weeks ago, hoping that things will change. Let's start with the fact that 2014, 2015 and 2019, there were issues around where the president's secondary school certificate was. We are now hearing the same things with the APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his placeholder vice presidential aspirant. What's your thought on this?
I mean, it's, like you said, it's back to square one. Before you know it, you'll find wire coming to present the certificate to the candidates. It's just very unfortunate that these are the conversations that we're having, and these are the problems that we're still facing, as a nation when it comes to, options for presidential candidate. And I was telling somebody how for us millennials here, this election is very, 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 very pertinent to us, because for us, a lot of us are going to be making life-changing decisions, bringing kids into the world, getting married, losing parents if you've not already lost parents and older loved ones. So imagine what that's going to do to the future of Nigeria, because this is literally a defining movement, definitive movement for them and for us in general. It's very, very shameful, to say the least.
So now, some of the candidates do not have running mates or solid running mates. They just have placeholders.
Yeah.
The Northwest governors have been clamoring Tinubu, the APC
Yes.
Northwest governors have been clamoring him concerning providing an actual running mate. Is there anyone that you may seem like, could fit in that position for him?
See, a lot of Nigerians are still on my neck from 2015 and 2019. I'm sure Andy is aware of that. I'm not going to come on national TV to say I think that there are more decent guys in the APC that can be better put, as opposed to the person that is placeholding at the moment. I'm not going to mention names. I hope that they give us the best. I just hope they don't bring thieving governors. I hope they don't bring, chatter boxes as well. I really hope for the best for them. I'm quite, like I was saying 2-3 weeks ago when we were having this conversation, PDP has shown that they know what they want, at least for the most part, because they don't have a placeholder. They've said this is who we're working with, even though some of the party members are saying, oh, that's not what the governors of the PDP wanted. But at the end of the day, isn't it dependent on the person who wants to be on the ballot to say this is the person I can work with, at the end of the day. And a lot of people are even saying that we underestimate Okowa and there's so much more that it has to offer. I guess we'll see, in the coming months.
Talking about that, the Benue State governor, my governor, was on Arise TV last week, and this has made the news a lot, where, amongst other things, he spoke about His Excellency Wike, who was selected by the National Working Committee, or the group that was selected to pick a vice for His Excellency Atiku, who ended up with Okowa. Now, Wike has been out of the country. Report says that he has rejected having meetings with Atiku's emissaries. Governor Fayose of the PDP as well came out to say South Okowa is the time of the South. And so now you have two governors or former governors in the PDP who are not entirely in support of Okowa being the vice president. Do you think this affects the structure and the capacity of the PDP as it stands?
It just might. I cannot say that for a fact, because at the end of the day, they would then need to come and agree on what is the common goal. You fighting about who's going to be vice presidential candidate, or you taking back power and showing Nigerians that you have what it takes to come back and fix things, even though everybody could have sworn that you ruined things in the first place, and that's why we're where we are at today. So it really depends on them to either get their acts together or not. And I'll take this to the NNPP and the Labour Party as well. Those ones are already garnering their mercenaries to fight. If your house is not in order, that's good for the third party that we have been speaking about. So maybe join forces and say, these guys are not serious. We have the APCs looking for certificates. We have the PDP not deciding and not wanting to be together because of their vice presidential candidate. Why don't we come and, I think that this is actually the opportunity for them, if they really, really want to take these guys out of power, to actually come together to say, I'm a seemingly small party and you're a seemingly small party and you're garnering numbers. You're garnering numbers online. I'm garnering numbers offline. Let's come together and actually take these guys out of power if they really want to.
So how prepared would you say the political parties are for the upcoming election, seeing as campaigns are starting next month?
Very, very unprepared. I cannot see, and even when I was saying, oh my God, we're having the third party, Labour and NNPP, I'm seeing now that they're saying they want to, join forces. Are you joining forces? Are you not joining forces? I don't see anybody that is actually proper ready for this election. I feel like, and it's something that happens every other election year. They faff around, and when it's time, a month, 2 months to the election, they start running up and down, spending ridiculous amount of money on PR, on communications and all of that, which is good for people like me because I'm in the PR space. But at the end of the day, you need to get your house in order, because at the end of the day, it's going to bite everyone in the foot. Before you know it, they're taking another 11 months to select ministers and DGs and leaders of parastatals. It's ridiculous that we're really where we are at the moment.
With INEC statistics and with the ongoing registrations, people between the ages of 18 to 34 are about 75% of the registered voters. Online, I've seen a lot of support for a particular candidate. Online, there's a lot of clamoring for Peter Obi.
Yes.
And then there are also those comments about Kwankwaso from NNPP. People have spoken about structure in the past, but we've seen the yearnings of people, sometimes a little bit too forceful. Do you think a possible collaboration for once could upset the APC-PDP stronghold in Nigeria if the Labour Party and NNPP come together?
Oh, absolutely. It's just that, unfortunately, so I've done the math. I don't see it happening. And why I say this is because, so you have Kwankwaso who has his armies offline, and you have PDP, like you said, the Labour Party, he literally has Obiagelis and the Obedience. They are ready for him. They've put Peter Obi on a pedestal where he cannot be a vice. Kwankwaso, on the other hand, has armies who cannot, they will literally be on his neck if he says he wants to be a vice. So where do they go from there? At the end of the day, I think that NNPP is probably going to have to say, the highest bidder from the two big parties, I would then give my support to you. But I do not see Peter Obi being any. I wouldn't even advise him to be anybody's vice at the end of the day. But if they, by some sort of miracle, come and sit down at the table to say, let's do this for the better good of Nigeria, the APC and the PDP better be very, very watchful. Better.
Okay, so seeing as there's discord in the PDP right now, and also in the APC, what do you think these political parties can do to actually convince Nigerians that, we know what we're doing? We know how to move forward. Both of them, because both of them actually have issues going on within them.
What they typically do, at the end of the day, they're going to have to, look at the bigger picture for the sake of their part. Because to be honest, between you and I, that they're not fighting for us. They're fighting for themselves and their pockets and power. It's not about you and I. It's not about the state of Nigeria. At the end of the day, they're going to have to make selfish decisions to say, okay, if I'm picking somebody from the Northwest, if I'm going to find an imaginary certificate so that we can quench that. If I'm going to say, the persons in my party who are disgruntled because I did not go for their choice for vice presidential, I would compensate you one way or another, and then start a campaign and actually tell Nigerians what they really, really want, which I don't see happening. But hey, that way they can then move on from it. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to sit down, think of what's best for them, as they always do, and work around it.
But with everything going on now, are there possibilities that the ruling party could be removed next year?
I cannot say.
With the force, with everything going on right now.
Look, the truth is that Nigerians we always do this thing where we're really angry, and when it's time for us to actually do the, personal terms and actually going out to do the needful, people are bought, we still have a problem with people being bought for 500 naira. There's that problem, and those people still kind of make the majority of people that end up going to stand under the sun to vote. That's the problem. So at the end of the day, there's only so much we can do when it comes to being angry. People are still going to be bought, and that's the truth. It's very unfortunate. So I see it happening, but at the same time, I don't see anything significant. I want it to happen. I really, really want that to happen. I want people to be shaking. I want people, but these guys, the APC, they're really, really comfortable. I don't see them running up and down saying, "Oh my God, our seats come." As opposed to 2015, where we had Jonathan literally right now shitting in his pants, wondering, "Oh my God, am I leaving or am I not?" Now they are confident that they're coming back. The Northwestern governors are going to say, we're giving you our best guy, and our best guy is going to have you win that, and that's the ruling party.
But don't you feel like, seeing as they may have a Muslim ticket, that could be to a disadvantage?
To be honest, I want to think so, but I doubt it, because guess what? When we work out the numbers, at the end of the day, these numbers go to them. These people are ready to bring all their money. They have the numbers to vote when it comes to, the North has the large numbers.
But there are other stakeholders also in the APC who are Southerners, who are
mind.
Christians, and they may feel cheated as well.
I just said something. They're selfish. It's not about you and I. It's about the fact that at the end of the day, somebody's going to get compensated. You'll be given this position. You'll be given this oil block. You'll be given this to manage to shut up so you don't get upset, and so you're okay for the next 5 years. Ideally, it should be balanced. There should be a balance. There should be a representation from the North, from the South. There should be Christian, there should be Muslim, or whatever you worship. But at the end of the day, it doesn't boil down to that. It boils down to their selfish needs and desires. That's it. It happened at the primaries, because if it was based on criteria, this person that's holding the flag right now for the APC will not be doing that. But everybody did that for their pocket.
So let's let's come to issues now. I've made a point of duty that until it is fixed, every Saturday I'm going to come on TV and talk about how poor electricity supply has been. I'm going to talk about the fuel scarcity, and I will speak about Nigerian students, who are the majority of your voters, being at home since February in an election year. The special advisor on media, digital media for the President, Buhari, was recalled to have said on Twitter that in 2022, President Buhari is going to focus on education. Our students have been at home. In the Federal Capital Territory, to get to work, we have to buy black market fuel. Power supply, getting about. It's still rationed in a time like this. Now, both parties have candidates coming out. We're not hearing His Excellency Atiku speak about ASU strike. We're not hearing Bola Ahmed Tinubu speak about it. Peter Obi is talking about the economy, but we're still not having this conversation, which affects the young people. What issues, and so these are my issues as a Nigerian, not as a journalist. It affects all of us, regardless of party. But what areas, and there's still insecurity, do we want the next president of Nigeria to focus on, or the candidates in their campaign season?
To be fair, Atiku tweeted about the ASU, education and ASU last night, but anyway, that's not, he didn't exactly address the issues, but they're trying to pander to emotions, obviously, of people. What areas? Every area, Andy. I don't know. So over the past years, our problem is that we've been putting round holes in square pegs, or square pegs. I don't know how that good saying goes. It's the basic things. And 2 years ago, what happened really? Because I think we're enjoying electricity in the FCT, for example, at least.
Yes.
But all of a sudden, everything went south. I really don't know. At this point, I don't know what the issues are again. I just feel like we just need to have the right guy. Let's start with that. Let's start with having somebody who has the decency. The decency to know that there are major issues. There's education. Let's even pick the main ones: education, health, security. How about that? How about just those three major things? And then every other thing follows that. Because, so I was in Rwanda for the Commonwealth program, and Rwanda was driving us. And she said, and we're talking about electricity, and she said, and we're like, oh, do you guys have electricity constant? And she said, of course, as if it's, how can you not have it? How is that even something you ask? Isn't that like breathing air? And I was like, I wish I could relate to that, So there's those basic things that we should not be talking about. Why are we talking about education? Why are we talking about electricity? Why are we talking about security? Those are things that should be a constant. Those three things, how about we get those things right first, at least your first 5 years. Let that be your priority, nothing else but that. Just make a statement, show us that you know what you're doing. But again,
talking about pegs and holes and squares and circles, Nigerians haven't seen their Minister of Education in a while. we had a Minister of State for Education who wanted to run for presidency and is out of it. So new set of people have been selected and approved by the Senate for ministerial positions. Do you feel the president has a responsibility for not picking the right people for the right positions if we have a minister we haven't seen in this long and nothing is being done about it?
Absolutely. Like, the buck stops. That's literally why he's there. That's why I'm saying we must pick the right people, because that's what determines our life for the next 5 years, unfortunately. What kind of life we're going to be living, if it's going to dwindle, if there's going to be an inflation, all of those things stop and look at the person that we are going to elect to be president. If you miss it, you miss out. And that's what Obasanjo got right. He may have been, he may have been authoritarian according to some people, but he had the right people in the right places. And we saw what happened between 1999 to, till he stopped being president. So really, when we get that right person, it may take a lot of, fixing, but at least you know that you have somebody, he has the right people in place to do certain things. Right?
Yeah.
So that's just it, really.
Yeah, most people would actually say this calls for a presidential debate. Do you agree with them?
Yes,
because
so
that way we're able to get everything
we must
that
have a
each
presidential
candidate
debate.
would offer.
It's not even up for debate. We must have it. So whether you're sick, you cannot work, if you've decided to hold that mantle to fly your party, you must debate. Tell us what the issues are. I feel like there should even be town hall meetings where you have people, angry Nigerians, say, okay, you want to run for office, tell us what you want to do. Like, it should be a one-on-one kind of campaign. If I were any political party, that's what I would adopt. A campaign where people are seeing me and asking me the right questions and pandering at least to the Nigerian people on the streets. That's how it should be.
I think that's a great place to leave it. I mean, it's always a pleasure having you here to give us your commentary on Nigerian politics from the comms angle, from the position of a young person, and also as a feminist. Always a pleasure having you on the show. And to our viewers, it's always great having you join us. You can watch episodes of The Weekend Show on YouTube. Our pages, Weekend Show NG. We're also on social media, so you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, Weekend Show NG. You can also follow me at Andy Madaki on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and you can follow Didi.
Yes, Instagram and Twitter at Didi_Frank.
I hear we have someone signing us out.
Yes, we have a music artist here with us who is already, she's already set up, Amaka Ignatius.
Do have a blessed week, and we'll see you next week, Saturday.